SuperCoach. I'm your host, Peter. And before we begin with the big episode, because the SuperCoach world is going down in flames this week, there is carnage all over the place, and I know there are some questions as well, which I'm sure I will get to throughout the episode. Please make sure to subscribe either on YouTube or give us a like on Facebook. This is our YouTube channel here, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places, as well as Spotify, of course, because it's not just this podcast, but it's also, weekly news throughout the week, about injuries and suspensions, some in-game stuff, as well as substitute news, but, captain choices, it's all here, so please make sure to do all those things. Now, I also just want to point out that this will be my last episode until SuperCoach Finals, because I will be away, but I'll still be making posts, just not any podcasts, because that's really difficult overseas. But before we begin into the carnage that is to be round 18, I just want to show you guys our group winner from round 17. His name is the letter C, and it's the Chumbawambas. He scored 2,631, which is actually a pretty monster score. He took Merit's VC, as I did, which was a great VC option, though he had some pretty good other options as well. He had Sheasel, who went nuts in defense. He had Neil with 179 as well. He had Butters too. He had Rosie with 168. He also had English with 137. And he had Heeney with 127 as well. So he had some big scores coming out of his side. But he also had some disappointing ones. So he went with Mackay ahead of Kerno, which who would have thought was the better option, because the last 2 weeks earning Kerno has been frustrating, but Mackay's actually been a little bit better, and he was cheaper too at the time. While Walsh 69 is also, and Houston 76 isn't great, but he'll still manage to score a huge score for the week. So good on you, C. Had some decent scores on his bench too. Look at that, Dowling. Kruger, Hutchinson as well. Nice. Not a bad team. Not a bad team at all. Now, let's kick off with the carnage that is to be of round 18. We have some huge player news. I dropped my pen, so I'm just going to pick that up. Just give me a sec. We've got some huge player news for the round. We've got some injuries, suspensions, and there's updates on all of those fronts. So, let's begin with Isaac Rankine. Isaac Rankine is a player that is probably the F5, realistically, but unfortunately he is done. He did appeal his 4-game suspension, 569k. What's he averaging? He's averaging, 102 for the year, which is actually really good for a forward. And he's done. That's it. So he's out for the next 4 weeks. He did appeal it, but the appeal failed. So he'll miss round 18, 19, 20, 21. He'll be back for round 22, which most of us will be 1 week into SuperCoach Finals by then. So he'll be back for SuperCoach Finals, but you'll need to win your first week or have a double chance. I mean, if you're not worried about your rank, you could hold him for SuperCoach Finals. But you need a double chance to really be able to do that. Otherwise, you've got 570k on your bench, and that's not great, especially if you're going into a head-to-head elimination final. So for me, I would be moving Isaac Rankine on if you have him, whether it be rank or maybe if you've got the double chance lined up. He was the player that I did want to bring in towards the end of the year, but unfortunately I won't be doing so. Well, fortunately I didn't have enough money to do so earlier. The other one I want to bring up is the other Isaac Heeney. Now Heeney is someone that's been suspended for a week, which means his Brownlow chance is done. 593k mid forward. Average score of 122.6. He has been brilliant this year. His appeal failed. So he got a 1 week ban, he appealed it, it failed, so the 1 week has been upheld. However, Sydney are now appealing the appeal. So we have something to look forward to, maybe. Fingers crossed the appeal of the appeal works and he gets off. He keeps his Brownlow chances alive. and he also keeps our SuperCoach seasons alive. 1 week. It's only a 1 week suspension. I would be saying whether you're playing for rank or for your league matchups, just keep him. It's a week out. That's it. Like, honestly, if you've got... Because I've seen some people with all of these issues that I'm about to mention. All 5 of the major injury and suspension issues. Heeney should be the bottom of your worry list. He's only out for a week. Rest might do him well. He comes back next week and he's the #1 forward in the competition for a reason. Or Flanders is at the moment. No, Heeney's still the #1 averaging forward. So, you know what? Keep him. Don't do anything stupid. Don't trade him away. I don't think it's a good idea. The next one is McGovern. Now, he potentially has a punctured lung, sorry. He's got a rib issue. He's averaging 107. He's 554k. And look, he's had a pretty good year. He could play this week, apparently. Now, he didn't fly up because of the injury issue, but apparently he might be driving up. I saw some posts on Twitter. I don't know. Wait for teams to be announced, but honestly, I don't think he gets up. Some people are reporting 1 week, some people are reporting up to 4. Look, if he doesn't play, you've got a lot of options you can trade him down to. It could be a pretty bad... It could be a long-term injury. I don't think he's as important to hold as a Heeney. You've got so many options in that defense that you could just move him on to another defender. Guys like, Rivers or Nick Martin, if you don't have him, they're fine options. Ridley, I despise, but again, you could go down to him too. There are a lot of options for you. So maybe McGovern is worth moving on despite him being in good form. We also have some more carnage through our ruck line. Max Gawn. Now, he himself has said that he could be playing next week. However, there's no guarantee of that because the official report is 2 to 3 weeks. So he could be out for up to 3 weeks, or he could just be missing for 1 game. His form actually hasn't been that great as of late. So since, when was it? So since he scored 180 against St Kilda, he's gone 95, 132, 114, 79 and 100, which is decent, but it's not amazing. He's dropped a decent amount of cash over the last month as well, and he's now sitting at 599k, which is pretty good. He's got a break even of 166, which is pretty high, so he's probably got more money to lose. Now, I know a few people have asked me in the questions, but Max Gawn, look, it depends on, first of all, your risk tolerance. I mean, your ruck line is a line that you want to be getting good scores from every week. Now, I wouldn't be trading him to a Rowan Marshall, but I also don't mind trading him down to a Tim English or a Toby Nankervis is in a lot of good form and he's got a really good run ahead of him. I think that he could be scoring quite well in the lead up to your SuperCoach final series, as well as a Tom de Koning. I think that he's great too. So we have options to trade down to, but look, it really depends on what happens with Gawn. The official injury report does say it could be up to 3 weeks, which is a concern. He'll be out. That means he might be out for half the year, or the remaining time before SuperCoach finals, which is pretty tough to hold on to. You could trade him down. You could maybe wait a week and see if you like. If you've got someone that you can, loop into there, like, I don't know, a Kruger or a Luke Jackson, for example. But the issue is, if you're looping in a Luke Jackson into your forward line, but you're also holding Heeney and you've also got Rankine, and Fisher's no guarantee of coming back this week either, you could be looking at a pretty thin forward line. So holding Gawn in that instance is probably not the best move. You could go down to another ruckman who's averaging roughly the same, who has some pretty good upside, and I don't know, because your forward line, you don't have many options with upside. So I would prefer to keep the good forwards and trade away a ruckman to another good ruckman, because you have so many options, then trade away a forward to I don't know, someone like Simpkin, like trading away a Heeney to a Simpkin, it would be a terrible move, for example, for a 1 week score. I would very much rather trade Gawn to then Curvis than a Heeney to a Simpkin or a Rankine to a Simpkin, if what I'm saying makes sense. Who was the other one? There was someone else. Oh, yes, and then we've got Miller as well. So Miller is also out for the next few weeks. He's got a wrist injury. He's out for the next 2 to 3 as well. I think if Miller is your M8, I do think that you should move him on. He hasn't been great this year. He really hasn't. He's actually dropped money since his starting price. So we all thought he was at a bargain. He started well, but really has been dropping off. As you can see, in the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, he's only turned up twice. It's not great, and it's really not great. He does have a good he's got an okay record coming home, but he's missing 3. Well, he's missing the 3 tough games, and then he's got 4 relatively easy matchups on the way home, so it's not terrible. I've seen people asking if they should trade him away, and but they've got Rosie as their M9. Put Rosie on your field and put someone like and put someone like Miller on your bench. There's no reason if you've got that M9 option like a Rosie. There's probably no reason to trade Miller because you don't know what injuries you're going to have throughout the year, and Miller could save you when he comes back. So it really depends on your team structure. If you've got Miller on your bench for the next few weeks, but you've actually got that M9 loop, great, awesome, you're covered. No need to trade. It's a waste of a trade. However, if you don't really have anyone on your bench, then maybe it's time to make some changes. And yeah, Miller's not someone you really want to hold on to too much anyway. He hasn't been that great. Now, I did briefly mention that Fisher is listed as a test, so he could be back this week, fingers crossed. I myself have actually avoided most of the carnage. I don't own McGovern, Gawn, Rankine either, or Miller. Now, that's not a good thing. I do have Heeney, but there's a chance that Heeney could play this week, so I could avoid all of these issues this week. And that's not really a great thing. It just means that my team is so bad. My team is so bad that I've avoided all the carnage because those players are so good. So it's not a compliment to me that I've avoided this carnage, to be honest. But I did have a good week last week. I was pretty happy with my score overall. I did manage to catch Merritt's VC, and I got, Neil and Butters. So I had some decent scores on Sheasel. I had some decent scores on Field. So I was very happy. But then I had some pretty shit scores through Kerno as well. So that was fun. One thing that did bother me last week was, I'll get it up, see where I can find it. So I had Hutchinson and Manor scored 195 on my bench, while Kerno, Richards, and Kruger scored 110 on my field. So my score actually could have been much higher had I have had the right players on my field. But let's be honest, like the reality is, guys like Manor and Hutchinson, they have been the sub basically every game except for this last week. So I'm not really liking fielding Manor this week, but I'm probably going to have to be honest, if Heeney is out for the week. I'm hoping that he's not. I'm hoping that he plays, because if he plays, to be honest, he was my VC option. He was the guy that I was going to put the VC on this week. So I'm hoping he does get up, because I think against North Melbourne, he is a serious chance to go huge. Now, if he doesn't play, now Callum Mills has already been declared fit and able. I wouldn't be, I'm not recommending Callum Mills. He's got a 94 break even. He's 490k, and this will be the first time he plays this season, but he is going to play his first game of the year against North Melbourne, which is not too bad. But you can wait 3 weeks before making a move if you are trying to finish your team. 490k, it's pretty good for someone of Callum Mills' ilk. However, being a mid, we've got other mid options. You've probably finished your side. It's not terrible though. I've seen people asking if they could trade out trade out Miller to Mills. I don't hate it, but I think it's a bit of a wasted trade because we don't know what position Mills is going to play in as well. I think Mills is kind of a fade, but he could be a decent trade out option if you trade two option if you do cop an injury in a few weeks. Let's just see how he goes. Luke Parker is also available, so that's pretty good. He's 541k though, and he did spend some significant time in the VFL, so I don't know if he comes straight back in. We've only got news on Mills. I think Parker might, unfortunately, play VFL, but I've been holding him in my SuperCoach Draft League all year, so I'm kind of hoping he does come in and play because I've just been holding him and just sitting there. He's just been sitting there warming my bench. He's been good to loop with, so that's not too bad, I suppose. Very annoying as an owner of Parker in my Draft League. But let's look, they're the injuries and suspensions that we are facing. I've seen people with McGovern, Heeney, Rankine, Gawn. Who was the other one? There was someone else. It was Heeney and Miller. Yeah, so I've seen people with all four of these guys in their team. What are you going to do with two trades? I don't know. I hope that you have some cover in your bench. I would prioritize your trade outs as per how long they're out for. So like a trade out Rankine first, maybe a Miller next. Rankine first. You just got to get rid of Rankine. McGovern could play. I saw something on Twitter about McGovern potentially playing, but he is most likely out. You have so many options in your defense. I don't mind if you do trade out McGovern. So I'd say McGovern is the next trade out. I think Gawn is definitely a trade out as well because you have so many ruck options. I think Miller is less of an issue because you've probably got someone like Dowling or Manor that you can use for the next few. You know, Heeney, don't trade. Just don't trade Heeney. That's stupid. Don't trade him. It's only 1 week, and he's going to come back and he's going to be firing, and then he might actually even be playing this week. So don't get rid of an Isaac Heeney at all. Now, I'm going to look at this. What's up next? We're going to have questions. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the questions on Facey Books. So we'll start off with Brad Duffin, overseas and no trades left. Not really a question there, just a statement. Edwin Formosa. So, what to do with Max Gawn? All right, now. Can do after 5 PM today. So I asked him to send me a screenshot of his team. However, I am not recording after 5 PM, so sorry about that. So he has 5 trades, and I have just got him for an effort to cover Max Gawn. Okay, so he's got 5 trades, and he's got Luke Jackson. Okay, so Luke Jackson should score well this week because Sean Darcy's missing with concussions. So you could opt to hold Gawn for a week if you really like, but it really depends on your forward line. So if you've got both Heeney and Rankine, you probably can't afford to loop a Luke Jackson into your ruck line, can you? You can't really do that. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna be way too thin. You have to trade away Rankine, but you didn't ask me about Rankine, so I'm just gonna assume that you don't own Rankine. You've probably owned Heeney though. So if Heeney plays and you've got enough cover in your forward line, you could probably hold Gawn for a week if you like, because Gawn himself has said that he thinks he'll be available next week, but he is a big man, so an ankle injury, honestly, it's probably closer to the 2 to 3 weeks, but you don't know. He could be back next week, and then you're kicking yourself for trading him out. So if you've got the cover, you could hold him. You really could hold him, but it really depends if you've got all the other issues I mentioned. If you don't have the other issues, then maybe just hold him. But you've got 5 trades left, so you're in a pretty good position. And he's not been in the best of form, so you could go down. It's tough. It's tough. You've got Luke Jackson though, so if you're not copping a 0 somewhere else, Luke Jackson should score pretty well this week. Let's move to Twitter. Did we get anything in Twitter? Nah, just a bunch of likes. Nothing on Twitter. Fantastic. Now we've also got some DDP changes. DPP. I don't know why I always say DDP. DPP changes. So Zach Williams has forward status now, so he's got defensive forward status. Jack Carroll has mid forward status now. Lockie Sullivan has forward status. Ben Long has forward status. Darcy Tucker has now defense mid. Toby Pink has defensive forward. Jack Graham has forward mid. Liam Henry has mid forward. Jamie Jones has defensive forward. We've got Mason Wood mid forward. Daniel Turner defensive forward. None of those are really SuperCoach relevant. How's Mason Wood's form been? He was actually alright last year. How has he been playing? Just out of curiosity. He was really good last year. Not great. Has a decent ceiling though. So when he is playing in the right role, he had a pretty good stretch. So look at that. Round 11 he went 113, then 140, 71, 90, 100. I don't hate this. I don't hate this. He's got a season average of 85, but that does include a score of 8 in round 2, which is an injury-affected game. If you look at his 5-round average, he's got a 5-round average of 91.6 and a 3-round average of 82.3, and he's 477k. I don't hate this. I don't hate the Mason Wood. If you need to trade down to a forward, to be honest, he's probably going to be doing a lot better than Kerno. Obviously, the number 1 trading option. Like, if you've... Why? On. What? Why is... I have subscribed. I paid for the year. What the fuck? Why is my SuperCoach Plus not working? What? Why is my SuperCoach Plus not working? I have subscribed. What the shit? Okay, I'll fix that later, I suppose. That's weird. It's super weird. Okay, whatever. Anyway, it's super weird. Why would it stop working as of right now? Like, I've had it all year. It's super strange. Okay. Oh well. I've lost my train of thought now. That's throwing me off. You got Caldwell. The Caldwell is obviously the number 1 trade in. So obviously, if you need to trade out Rankine, Caldwell is probably the way to go. If you've got a Caldwell, I don't mind Simkin as well. I was literally looking up stats earlier today. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I was looking up stats earlier today. So Simkin is got a 3-round average of 97.3 and a 5-round average of 94.6. He is 456k. He's got forward mid status. He's actually cheaper too, and I do like his role a little bit better in the last couple of weeks. Didn't have a great game on the week. Oh no, he did. No, he did. Yes, no. So he's gone 129, 114, 68, and 110 since returning to the midfield. This is the guy that I probably would. 85 break even is pretty good. He's got a tough matchup coming up, but he did score. He's actually got a really good record against Sydney. 121, 100, and 114. So he's actually got a good record against the Swans. Now, he's probably not going to cop the tag either. I think LDU gets the tag from James Jordan, so he's not a bad option. He's got a good record coming home too. A good draw coming home too. I don't think I can get to him, which is very annoying. I don't think I can... Yeah, I still can't even get to him. That's so fucking frustrating. Because I do want him. I think that he'd be the guy that I'd probably end up picking. But I just don't... have... Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Yeah. Alright. My SuperCoach Plus is working all of a sudden. Yay! Alright, so the most traded in players are Luke Jackson. I think Luke Jackson is a good option, 476k. He will help your ruck line, which I assume is why so many people, why 3,800 coaches have traded him in. His scoring's just a bit meh. Like he's only turned up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times this year, which is not great. It's really not great. If you're looking for rookies as well, I haven't really gone through them, but you know, Jacob Blight, I think his job security should be good for the rest of the year. I don't mind Lawson Humphreys. I think he's been pretty good too, but these are defenders, so I don't know who you're trading out to get them in your team. I don't really love it, to be honest. Can't believe almost 850 coaches have traded out Isaac Heeney. Zach Fisher is being traded out. He could be back this week. Matt Rowell as well. He's looked pretty disgusting as of late. So I understand why all of these guys have been traded out. Though I think Rowell is very much a luxury trade out. Could hopefully boost his scoring a little bit with Miller out. Because with Miller out, it means that Rowell stops playing wing and might get some more CBA action, and that could boost his scoring back into the hundreds. So fingers crossed, because I'm holding Rowell. I'm not gonna get rid of him. That's it really. Now let's move into our vice captain and captain picks. Now I think personally the number one captain choice is the guy that's most likely going to be suspended. So I like Isaac Heeney. I think, though, if he is out Friday night, we've got a really obvious one, and that is Nick Dacos against the Geelong. So the Cats have been bleeding scores to inside midfielders as well as attacking defenders this season. Look, they're sitting 5th while Collingwood is sitting 9th, which just sounds strange to me. Collingwood need to win to make finals. They need to continue winning. The middle of the table is quite competitive. Geelong also need to win, and they've come off a good win as well. But I think the Pies probably get up at the MCG. And with that, we've got Nick Dacos, who the Pies are going to be looking for. Now, he's got a 5-round average of 111. Now, he did just come off a pretty shit score, to be honest, of 92. But has also a 156 in that 5-round average as well. We know that he can go big when he needs to, and he really needs to go big this week. I'm just trying to see, what was his record against the Cats? He's played him twice and has scored 129 and a 91. So I keep forgetting that he hasn't been playing for that long with Dacos, but he's probably the best VC option if Heeney does miss. I don't really like anyone from the Cats as a VC option. As a smoky, actually. Max Holmes. So with Mana going into the mid, and I saw someone else. There was a change. There was another change at Geelong, and I can't remember. Anyway, Geelong's midfield has had a little bit of a shake-up, and Max Holmes actually played a lot on the outside across half-back and wing, and that really affected his scoring last week. He still scored 82, which is not terrible, but it wasn't what he was scoring before. His season average was in the hundreds. So it's still in the hundreds, but he's not having the same impact thus far as what he was earlier in the year. So, but a halfback role against the Pies might actually be a good thing, because they bleed points to attacking halfbacks. We saw Ridley score 129 and Nick Martin both score 99 against them as well in the same game just last week. So I think personally that Holmes could go pretty massive against them. I'm just taking a look. Ridley has been probably one of the worst trade-ins this season for me. Honestly, disgusting. Since I traded him in, he's gone 84, 63, 129, so that's been fun to watch. But I actually think as a little bit of a POD VC pick, I don't mind a Max Holmes purely because of his opponent. Whether it be him playing as a mid or a defender, it's a pretty good role against the Pies. So I don't hate this because they don't tag. So he could just have one of those really big spike games. But Dacos is the better option. safer option anyway. Saturday, you've got Fremantle taking on Hawthorn, and I think that the VC has to go to a bounce back in Caleb Sarong. He scored 140 against them last year, but has also scored 105 as well, and 127 in his last 3 against the Hawks. I actually really don't mind this. His scoring, though, has been a bit meh as of late. He's got a 5-round average of 97 and a 3-round average of 96. It's not amazing, to be honest. But against the Hawks, he should actually score kind of well. Again, like, I wouldn't be putting a C on him, but I don't mind it as a VC. Dacos is probably the safer option, though. I don't hate it. I will consider it. But yeah, I don't really like anyone else in this game. Sydney take on North. As I said, I think the best option for a VC from this game is probably a Isaac Heeney. Will Phillips might tag him, but with all the... Oh my god, so sorry. Who's dying here? With Isaac Heeney potentially having all this scrutiny, if he does get up, I could see him going pretty big, to be honest, as a little bit of a statement. But if he doesn't go up, I don't mind a Chad Warner. Also, I think LDU will get tagged, so I wouldn't be touching him either. Now, Western Bulldogs take on Carlton next. Don't really like anyone from this game. I don't mind. I mean, Bont's got a decent record against Carlton. He has been in good form as well. He's been brilliant this year, Bontempelli. He's back at 714k already. He's got a break even of 148 though, so probably outpriced you already if you don't already have him. Dogs need to keep winning, and I think Bont is the way to go. If you are going to try to vice-captain anyone from this game, it has to be Bontempelli. Cripps is an interesting one too. Has been really good, Cripps. How is his record against... Cripps has been fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't have a good... 162 against them in 2022 is pretty juicy though. His last 2 games, Patrick Cripps, have been both 144s, which is fucked, because I remember talking about him ahead of the Geelong game, saying, hey, we should probably pick up Cripps because his next 3 weeks are going to be pretty solid, and his 3-round average is, his 3-round average is 129, so I'm kind of hoping that someone listened to me and jumped on. I was tossing up between Ridley and Cripps. Guess who I picked? This spud. Would have loved Cripps instead, but it is what it is. Can't go back, unfortunately. Hindsight. The next game, Adelaide, St Kilda. Don't really like anyone from this game. Melbourne, Essendon. Don't mind a Merritt. He's been in really good form this week, but he could cop a tag. But yeah, it's fine. Tagging season is back. Sunday, Suns take on Port. I really like Butters. I like Rosie. But I think the next game is where the captain choice goes, as what's his name? Tom Green should go absolutely nuts against the Tigers, as well as Lucky Whitfield, because the Tigers bleed scores to inside midfielders and attacking defenders, which both those players are. So they're the really good options. But you're also Lachie Neale. He's probably Dunkley too. You know, playing the Eagles at the end of the round, and they've been in some brilliant form themselves. Neil coming off a 179, as you can see, I've got the C on him, and I'll probably have to pick him as well, because I guarantee you Nick Dacos will probably spud up like he's done every time I've put the VC on him this year. So that's it. I'm done for a few weeks. I'll be back just before SuperCoach Finals. Thanks for listening, guys, and good luck for the rest of the year until you hear from me in about a month's time.